Hello
Okay, ma'am.
everyone, this is Snehaja and on behalf of SciComm India, welcome to yet another SciComm Talk. Today we have with us Mr. Untak Goyal, Managing Director of Fortune World School Noida. Apart from being an educationalist, he is also a businessman and a social worker. Welcome to you, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
So we are in the middle of the lockdown where we've almost got adapted to this new lifestyle. But when it was
Correct.
uh, when we got to know about this for the first time. So what was your reaction, and what did your school plan out, and how did you try to go about with it?
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, actually, I would like to start with since our school is situated in Noida, and Noida was one of the most affected place initially when the lockdown thing started. Most of the cases that were reported were from Noida. Many societies were sealed, and everything was happening there. So it was a very unexpected situation on 23rd of March, when due to outbreak of COVID lockdown, COVID virus, lockdown was called. A necessary action. This was a necessary action from the government of India, because if it would not have been taken, it would have been really a very, very dangerous situation, just like it happened in Italy initially. Thereafter, in US, like the death percentage is very high. So it was necessary that government did that. But for us, it was very unexpected, wherein we were going to begin a new session just after 10 days. 1st of April, we start with the new session. We were under preparations. We were giving results to the students for the last classes. We were preparing for the book sets. We were in talks with the uniform vendors. We were planning the curriculum, appointments of certain new teachers for new subjects, and all that was going on. So this was quite a little. The time was really, really that time where it was a little problematic. But somehow, I think this is a good lesson wherein we overcame that. Online teaching came up as a very good substitute. And I think that through this medium, we are able to deliver the education at home to the students. Since we didn't have any option at this time, I think we are doing our job very well. All the schools in India, I guess everybody is following this pattern. Through this, we can reach the student at their home. We can involve them in the studies. We can see the parents also. We can involve the parents also. Otherwise, parents may not get involved that much. But now when they have to arrange for their child all those laptops, the systems, software, so thereon, even the parents get involved and the education is being delivered at home. I believe that's going fine. So herein, I think that COVID really created a panic initially, but when we find out the solutions, things are better now. Even now, the summer camp is going on in our school. Today is the last day of the summer camp, 30th of May today. So I think the students are enjoying it all the way.
That's really
That
nice.
is from
Like
my
you're having a summer camp as well. So, as you said,
yes, ma'am.
you had to involve the parents. So, till now, parents were not at all involved in their child's education directly. So, was there any kind of a training you provided, or any? How was the reaction from the parents?
See, ma'am, when we started, we planned, we discussed, we had our meeting in the management of the school and with the school head and everybody. So we decided that we will be going online through Zoom. Zoom was the most popular mode at that time initially. So it was the only option, rather, I would say at that time. So we started in Zoom. So we trained our teacher how to use Zoom. Some of the teachers, they are into computers. Some of them are into subject trainings, like they are language teachers. They are not that good in computers. So their entire basic training, their complete Zoom training, using various uh, modules of the software, and how to upload the things, how to send the, like we are using Pearson MyPedia curriculum in our school. So over there we send the virtual books to the students, wherein they can, because the book sets could not be delivered because of the sudden lockdown. So we send all the curriculum at home. The students can explore all the studies that has been taught to them on that. So accordingly, the trainings were going on. Teachers were training for Zoom. But later on, when we find that Zoom was being called by some parents, pointed out that Zoom is not that safe. Certain news were coming, certain accounts were hacked that way. So we again had a very rigorous training of Microsoft Teams. Our entire thing shifted to Microsoft Teams. Our teachers, we created each and individual IDs for all the teachers, and the students could explore much more on Microsoft Teams. Apart from that, all that academic trainings, all that workshops, like it was for teachers, I believe it was even much more hard work during this time, because in the morning they were teaching and in the evening they themselves were getting trained. So that way, all of a sudden, such change was there. So I guess it was a rigorous effort by our teachers and team. And I really appreciate the teachers of entire country, of entire world, that in such situation when everything was at standstill, education continued. So that was a really something that was very great.
Undoubtedly, sir. Like till now, we heard phrases like "teachers are the backbone of the nation," but this time, really, teachers did do a lot for our nation. So, coming to the next point, so before any time, now it is very important to be kind and compassionate. So, how do you think schools can play a role in this?
See, I think compassion should be a part of human nature in general also. We all are here for some time. A lifespan of 70, somebody is living 60, somebody is living 70, somebody is living 80, some a little more, somebody a little less. So we all are here for a particular time, and we should be kind enough. We should treat each and every human the way we want ourselves to be treated by others. And in this time of COVID, I believe that this was a really special circumstances. So definitely, as a school, when we got to understand this, that due to COVID outbreak for next 2 months or maybe at least for 1 month, we would not be able to run the classes that way. So we just started planning. We paid our teachers fully. Our entire staff was paid during this time, because we understand that they are working for the school and they have to be paid. They have responsibilities, they have their expenses, they have, and particularly like for teachers, when I say that they were working also wholeheartedly. Apart from teachers, other people who were like, when I talk about the other facilities like transport, meals, day boarding facilities, security, housekeeping, all these people, they were working for the school, but due to COVID, they were not able to come on work and do that way. But we paid them. We understand that paying them a bare minimum amount will help them run their houses, will run their family. So that is one sort of compassion that I believe that all the schools must be following. Apart from that, for parents, we understand that parents, some of the parents also were sharing their difficulties, that in some companies they were working with were not able to pay them salary fully on time that way. So we completely eradicated transport charges, meal charges, and any other sort of charges other than tuition fees to be charged from the students. We requested parents to pay the tuition fees, because that is the basic amount from which we need to pay the salaries. We need to meet up the expenses like electricity bills, security charges, all that thing. That is required. And some amount was contributed from our society itself, so that the school could pay all the employees. So that way, I think that this sort of compassion, being a school, this was our moral responsibility. And I think we should follow this. We should support our people who are working for the school. So I think this sort of compassion is required by every school, every organization should take care of their employees, because entire life they are working for them, entire period they are working for them. At this time of distress, we can't leave them in the middle. Even for certain employees who joined us very recently, like some joined us in March, some joined us in Feb, we just continue to. So this is sort of compassion. I believe that school was following.
That's very nice to hear, sir. So, talking on the same lines, so we are all stuck in our homes, but there are few less fortunate ones who don't have this luxury. So, being a social worker, how do you see this condition, and what do you think we as individuals can do?
Yes, ma'am. See, ma'am, I believe in God. I'm a firm believer of God. I believe God has created people, and He is the person who is responsible for fulfilling their needs every day. Anybody who becomes a medium is just a medium. Ultimately, it is God who is fulfilling the need of an individual. I just am able to remind a very short story from Mahabharata. If you, I would like to share that. There is a mention that, ma'am, when the war of Mahabharata was about to start, just a day prior, all the trees were cleared and the ground was made leveled so that the war could be fought next day onwards. 18 days was the time that war was fought. So just it was 0 day, that is just before the beginning. So a tree was cut, and a nest of a sparrow was there on that tree. The nest fell down, and the sparrow, along with her three children, was in the nest. The children were not able to fly; they were too small to fly. The sparrow was in distress that tomorrow onwards the this thing war will start, and there is no power who can save my children. I can fly, but they can't. So she was worried. All of a sudden, she saw Lord Krishna standing there. She found a sort of divinity in him. So she just went to Lord Krishna and said that I feel that you are a holy figure or somebody like who is having some powers. So I just am here that tomorrow the war will begin and my three small kids they will die. So I need your help. Lord Krishna, being God, he said that don't worry, you have come to me. I will try to help you. You just arrange food for 20 days with yourself and just be there where you are. So the sparrow followed the god. She had full faith in God. She just arranged food for her kids and herself and just sat in the nest. Next day, the war was about to begin. The sparrow was worried that nothing has been done as yet by the Lord Krishna. Then, the just when it was 10 minutes to begin, Lord Krishna sent an elephant in the front near to the nest. And Arjuna, uh, since the Lord Krishna was the charioteer to Arjun, he told Arjun that pull out an arrow and strike the bell in the neck of the elephant. Arjuna said, "What's the use of that? That elephant is from our army." Lord Krishna said that whatever I'm doing, just follow that. Arjuna sent a arrow and the bell fall on the nest, covering the entire nest. The air and light can come through the hole through which the bell is tied. 18 days, the war began. 45 lakh, more than 45 lakh people died in that war. And the bell was there, and the sparrow and her kids were under that. They were being feeded by the food. And in 18 days, nobody could touch that bell because it was very heavy. And everything happened after 18 days. Arjuna asked Lord Krishna, what happened? I just didn't understood that why that bell was installed over there. Lord Krishna said, let's go there and let's uncover that. The bell was uncovered, and under that, sparrow and her three kids who were able to fly, now just flew. Four sparrows flew. Lord Krishna saved them. So that way, I believe that every human, every person on this earth is having his own luck, is having his own share. And if I behave as a social worker, some organizations, government, whatever we are doing, it's their luck. It's we have to. And being when I talk about like in general, we have been doing certain things like providing foods to needy that way, organizing certain things wherein some deposits would be made to people who are working for us primarily, and then for social work also, like certain food stalls were there. So we just contributed some food over there that way. So all this can be done, but I believe that anybody who is at his home, anybody who has reached his village, they are all safe. They are having resources, and anybody in need, whosoever is approaching, after identify that the person is actually needy, we do our maximum to support that person through various organizations. Like we are running one organization called Saksham Foundation in Delhi, through which we help poor and needy. Even during this time, we also arranged few camps from that organization. So all that, I hope that person understand his responsibility, and we are all doing that.
Yeah. So that was a really nice story, and I'm sure people can draw parallels to our current situation also, like staying at home, just looking into if we have enough food to eat. And I think everyone we have reduced to only that much now. Uh,
Correct, ma'am.
so coming back to education, so since the entire teaching has become online, the children are spending more time on screen. So what effect it might have on their eyes, because they're still children and they have delicate eyes.
Yeah, ma'am. Ma'am, time is changing. The change has to come. Earlier, the books were on banana leaves, palm leaves. Then it converted into books. At that time, people used to think that under the light was not sufficient. People were reading books, and their eyes spectacles were used even 20 years, 40 years, 50 years back also. Right? We can locate it 100 years, even Mahatma Gandhi, and we can see like to associate with all that thing. So that was all there. But now technology has come, but the solution has also come. I believe when the computers came in, they were not that developed. The screens were round in front, and it was having like negative effects to our eyes. But now certain screens are coming wherein we can avoid the ultraviolet rays, and definitely blinking is the key. If we practice look at the computer for some time and blink afterwards, so the naturally water and all could be preserved in our eyes. So I believe that parent under assistance of parents, children are able to utilize these things for positive needs only, because otherwise also, like the vacations are beginning now in June. I believe the students, the children, everybody, even anybody I will talk about, are so techno savvy. They are always into their mobiles, they are always into gadgets. So rather than using it for the gaming purpose and all other non productive purposes, I think delivering education through technology was the solution, and that way even now they can utilize various uh, vision support equipments are there. We can wear them and we can avoid all that thing. So these all support is required, because computers, use of technology will increase in time to come. We can find out methods to reduce the strain, but we can't avoid these gadgets.
Yes, so like as you said, the mobile phones or the computers, they were synonymous with gaming for children. But now that
Correct.
they are learning from it, so we have definitely changed for the better, I guess.
Yeah, that is right.
So, like many people, they are talking about the challenges the teachers are facing, the parents are facing, and the students are facing. But you, as a part of the management of an educational institute, what were the challenges in front of an educational institute?
I believe the only challenge that was there was a sudden change, because everything happened so suddenly that we were not able to, like, we took some time to find the alternate and make people understand. If we would have known this that 3 months prior, so we would have educated parents, we would have uh, arranged things in that manner. But I think there was no such problem faced by teachers, no such problem faced by students, because see, it's a cycle. The school is paying the teachers. Teachers are delivering education to the parent, to the students. Parents are paying to the school. Even if they are not able to pay right now, the school has given them some opportunity that they can pay it later. They can pay it monthly basis. They can pay it all in June. They can pay it in July also, in case somebody is having certain problem. So that was a circle wherein we are supporting each other, moving hand in hand. So I believe that teachers and students, just a sudden change was a thing that they felt that how the things will happen, how the things will go, and now what will happen that way. Like we started with Zoom, then we shifted to Microsoft Teams. So all those adjustments had to be made, but I think there was no such problem. I believe.
So now slightly deviating from education. So you happen to be a businessman as well. So how do you see the current situation of the economy and what do you think we would expect in the coming days?
See, ma'am, economy was not the priority at this time of distress. I guess safety was something that we were looking more at, as been said by all our national icons, even Modi ji, when he called for this, that safety and security, the citizens should stay alive, the citizens should stay healthy. That is most important. Economy definitely is the backbone of any country. But when this this virus was spread on entire world, at that time, I think the ultimate priority was security and safety of our residents, our nation, or our nation. So thereon, but when I talk about economy, I think that things will come into shape soon. Soon we will be able to overcome this pandemic disease, and by finding some solution in the form of some medicine to it, some sort of like solutions wherein it could be reduced for the timing. And I believe that one very important reason that India is able to fight it in a such brilliant manner, undoubtedly, one was the timely decision taken by our government, but the second is our diet. When we take so many things, like when I speak about so many types of spices, cardamom, and all these, like when I talk about ginger, all these masalas that we do produce spices, all these are all medicated things. So these help us in that way. So our people are having better stamina, better immunity. So they are able to, I think that the people are able to handle this thing in a better way, as compared to other countries. In terms of economy, when I talk about, as been, I was reading a few days back that the NPAs in the countries are increasing substantially. It was 9 lakh crore prior to the breakdown, and it would be even after the things have been changed. Certain help has been provided by certain rules and regulations has been changed by banks and government. But still, it's gonna grow to 9.6 lakh crores after 30th of June. I think the government will come with certain sort of solutions to this. They would definitely help the businessmen, help the farmers, help the industrialists. So, because they work day and night. Farmers, if they don't produce food, businessmen, if they don't trade, what sort of taxes could be collected, what sort of things could be moved upon. So I think that some sort of help would be required from government. Settlements of loans, settlements of problems that have been faced by the businessmen and everybody. I think that government should take a front step on this and should help on this, because even after this whole thing is over, we need to strengthen our economy. For that, definitely business, farming, all those things that we are doing should be done with full enthusiasm. A person should not feel ki business kharab ho gaya, now what to do. They should, we are all having trust in government, that government will come up with certain schemes, certain sort of helps, like during this time wherein the things could be normalized.
Definitely, sir. This is the time where collectively we should put in the effort.
Yes,
So,
ma'am.
my last question to you would be, as the saying goes, today's children are tomorrow's citizens. And these children, they have witnessed something which other generations had not witnessed. So,
Yes.
what do you think? How would their approach to life be in the future?
Ma'am, it is I would say that this was a very rare uh, spread of virus that happened this time. But when I talk about past, things kept on happening in the past also. We read about the great Swami Vivekananda in 1895 when he came back from Chicago to India. At that time, spread of plague was there in entire Bengal. The person, the noble Swamiji, he stayed in Bengal. He served his life for that cause. And we also hear about 1918 when the spread of Spanish flu influenced entire world. Lakhs of people died then also. It's almost after 100 years that this virus is back again. And even during the World Wars, World War One, World War Two in 1945, when Japan was bombed, I recently got an opportunity to visit Hiroshima in Japan just few months back, and I was able to see the disaster that happened at that time. So I believe all these things have happened in the past. Things were really bad at that time, but people tend to forget them. But in our generation, even in generation of our parents, even in generation of our grandparents, such thing was not much of there. So I believe now the parents, now the students, the coming generation will take things more seriously. They will understand the importance of nature, like playing too much with nature, playing too much with rivers, with mountains, with everything that God has created, really creates this sort of situation. I believe a balance should be there in nature and technology. We understand that technology is important, but believe me, without nature, technology could be wiped off in minutes. We can see that recently what happened in Bengal. We can see that attack of locusts in Rajasthan, in Pakistan primarily, then in Punjab, Haryana, and Rajasthan now. So these are all things that are beyond our control. So I think that nature should be respected and we should balance things. We should create such an environment where we understand the importance of the natural gifts that God has provided us and should simultaneously create a good life also.
Definitely, sir. Like, uh, call it God or call it science. Ultimately, it's nature. We don't own
Absolutely.
nature, and so nature owns us. So, definitely.
Absolutely.
Uh, sir, is there any last words of advice for our viewers, the teachers, the students, and the parents?
Ma'am, when I talk about, so like teachers, parents, and everybody, each and every person, first of all, take care of yourself. This is the time, the thing is not yet over. Until unless we find a vaccine for this, the thing is not over. We should take care of ourselves. We should take care of our families. We should stay as much as possible indoors, unless and until it is very important. We should not venture outside. We should follow all the regulations being issued by state authorities, national authorities, government, and everybody. We should try to work from home. We should like try to support people who are dependent upon us. We should try to eat healthy, think healthy, do something constructive during the time, read good books, read certain materials like when I talk about Bhagavad Gita, when I talk about Shri Guru Granth Sahib, when I talk about Quran, whosoever is following whatever should gain something for his soul at this time. This is the time we should not think that this is going waste. We should utilize it in that manner, so that we should have better thinking. We should have better life in future. In future.
Yeah.
And I would just like to thank your channel, ma'am. It was wonderful talking to you, and I have been viewing certain uh, activities that you have been doing. You are doing a wonderful job. I really appreciate the sort of things you are running in during this time. It is really, really wonderful.
Thank you very much, sir. It was it was really nice for us to have you speak on our SciComm talk as well. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, ma'am.